everyone, I'm Rachel here with Ari, and we're your hosts for the Merry Writer podcast. This week we're on episode 322 asking how do you set up a virtual book blog tour? Before we start, don't forget to visit and follow our coffee page where you can access lots of goodies for free. And if you're in a position to support us, you can become a Merry Writer for $2 a month and get access to exclusive content. Everything we earn on coffee goes into keeping the show going, and we really appreciate any support. So what is a virtual book blog tour? It's a book tour on the internet, which is on other people's blogs and social media to help you promote and spread the word about your book. It's basically the same thing as book tour. It's online. But essentially, book bloggers will feature your book on their website via a book review, an author interview, an author guest post, or share an excerpt from your book, or pretty much any other content that you can think of. And not only does it spread the word about your upcoming or latest release, it also broadens the possibility of new readers stumbling upon your website, social media, and your email list. So how long does a blog tour typically take? It can last anywhere between a week or two. Typically, it can go shorter or longer depending on what you want. But the actual setup for a blog tour takes at least 6 to 9 months. Sometimes longer if you really get ahead of yourself and you're really organized. So let's talk about how to set up a book blog tour. It's fun stuff. First, you want to decide the start and end date of the blog tour and what you want the tour to entail, essentially. Do you want to write some guest posts? Then brainstorm some topic ideas to pitch. Do you want interviews? Then keep a list of potential interview questions bloggers can ask you. A lot of bloggers may have topic ideas for you, or they'll have their own set of interview questions, but it's always good to come prepared just in case. Now, when I say that the blog tour can be like a week or two, you may have one blogger a day, or you might have two a day for the 1 to 2 weeks, which means you might have anywhere between 7 bloggers to 28 bloggers, which is a lot of moving pieces and a lot of coordination, which is why if you're setting up your first blog tour, I would recommend starting with one blogger a day for 1 week.
I have to say, I'm just going to nip in here. I have never run a blog tour. I have never been part of a blog tour that I can think of. And I'll be honest, I didn't even know half of this stuff. I've been looking into blog tours, and then Rachel just threw all these notes down, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know half of this stuff. And she's only partway through her notes. So I'm mostly here just to take my own notes, if I'm honest, rather than actually like share any wisdom. I love the idea of having questions because I never thought of that. I thought like if someone was like, "Yeah, I could do an interview," I assume they might be the ones creating questions rather than you, the blog tour person, having questions. That's a good point. I would never have even thought about that. I don't know why I wouldn't have thought about that, but that's yeah, okay, that was my entire point.
Well, it's a good thing to have your own questions in your back pocket because if you're running a blog tour and a blogger agrees to help you promote your book and they're not doing a book review, then they're probably not reading your book. You're not sending them a free copy at all. So if you're doing an interview or you're doing a guest post, try to have some topics pertaining to your book, whether it's themes or your writing process for the book, to give them a good sense of, where the interview should go and stuff. Or else they might just send you generic author interview questions, which is fine. That's totally well and good. But if you want it to be catered towards whatever book you're promoting, then having those ideas are a good idea. And for context, since Ari mentioned that she's never run a blog tour before, I have never run a blog tour for my own books, but I used to be a freelance book publicist like years ago. So I have run a couple of virtual book blog tours. I've just never done it for my own books. I just did it for other authors. So that's where I'm getting all of this knowledge from. This is just from my own experience. Take it or leave it, whatever. I'm qualified and totally not qualified at the same time. But anyway, while setting up your book blog tour, one of the best ways to get things done is to work backwards. A tour will usually start on the publication date, or you can run a 2-week tour where the first week promotes your pre-orders while the next week contains the buy link. Totally up to you. But that said, consider your release date and when to start the tour and how long it'll last. And then decide what do you need to do a week prior to the tour starting. a month before, etc., etc. For example, if you're going to be sending your book and people are going to be posting their book reviews as part of the tour, you need to have that set up months in advance. You want to start pitching to people like 6 months prior, and then when they agree, you want to send them your book like probably 2 to 3 months ahead of time so that they have plenty of time to actually read your book. Because most book bloggers, they're not just taking on one book at a time, they're accepting many, many book reviews and arcs for many, many authors. And a lot of these bloggers, not only are they on their blog, but they're probably on book review websites like Booksprout and Book Sirens and things like that. So the earlier, the better. And because it's the earlier, the better, make sure that you send plenty of follow-up emails. Don't bombard their inbox, obviously. Don't send weekly emails, but make sure you say, hey, the book tour starts in a month and you agreed to do this. If there's anything else you need from me, let me know. The book tour starts in 2 weeks. Please have your things scheduled, yada, yada, yada. Stay on top of it. Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel is your friend, okay? Now, how do you find these book bloggers? You want to network because networking is important, and warm pitch. Please, for the love of the universe, warm pitch. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I hate cold pitching. I despise it. I just find warm pitching to be more authentic and more engaging, and I just find it a better way to network. Rather than randomly emailing somebody and saying, hey, I have a book that's coming out and I noticed that you read and review in this genre. Do you mind taking on my book? No, 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 no. Warm pitch book bloggers by actually following their blog or joining their email list or whatever it is they have and interact with their blog. And I'm talking for months, like 6+ months in advance. Actually read their blog, see the way that they do things, read their content, comment on their content, get to know them, follow them on social media, and interact with them. And they will follow suit and they will respond to you. And maybe they'll even follow you on your own website or your own social media. And you kind of build a relationship that way. You may even become friends with some of them. That's how you network. And then when the time is right, you send them an email and say, hey, I have a thing. I have a book. I have a thing. I have a book that I made and I'm running a book blog tour and I've been following your content for a really long time. I write in this genre and I noticed that you also read in this genre based on your reviews of this book, and that book. Would you like to be a part of it? It runs from this day to that day. If you're interested, I can send you more information. Boom. And guess what? They'll already recognize your name because you know why? You've talked to them before. Rather than getting a random email from a stranger saying, hey, can you do me a favor? There we go. I'll get off my high horse now.
No, but that is it exactly. That last line. Hey, can you do me a favor? Like we have blogs. We've had those emails. Usually they come without a hi Ari, hi Rachel. It's just a hey or hi blogger, and you're thinking, uh-huh. Very, very few thank yous, very, very few pleases. It's almost like they're doing you a favor. It's like, yeah, you read my book. It's like, yeah, okay, you are giving that, if they're giving you a copy of the book, that is something. But it's not out the goodness of their heart. They're trying to get something. And it's like the people who are doing book blogs, who are doing tours, they're giving up time and energy and space on their blogs. And again, a lot of us bloggers, we have a calendar of things we put on our blog. We have things we already have on there, so we're slotting people in. So yeah, don't do that. I mean, we get it for the podcast, don't we? We get emails like that where they literally just come on going, hi, I would be great on your podcast. And then they go on about why, and it's all about them and how it helps them. Not about like your listeners and readers, your listeners would love this. It's always about, well, I write this and this, and you're thinking, you're just showing about how great it is for you. What is it for us? Why should we have you on the podcast? I don't get how people can, in this day and age, 2026, we're still getting cold emails. And yeah, you'll find these people who aren't following your blog, they aren't following your podcast, they're doing like dip, especially when they're like, oh, I really like how you run your blog. It's like, That sounds generic. Like you've never actually been on the blog or I love the podcast. It's like, I bet you can't even name an episode, can you? Have you even listened to what we talk about? It's like, do the bare minimum, seriously.
No, what I love is when we get those emails and they're like, I enjoyed your episode, and then they put the episode title in quotes, but it's like a different font and it's bolded because they clearly just copied and pasted the title from Podbean or something and just inserted it into the email. So leads me to believe that no, you did not actually listen to episode title here. You know?
First of all, you should know that we're anti-AI anyway. But second of all, even if you don't use AI on your books or covers and you use it for your email, fucking don't when you're pitching to people. I can tell you now, we don't like seeing ChatGPT's written email. If you can't even create an email yourself, no thanks. It doesn't come across well. It comes across lazy and like you can't be bothered at all to even put the modicum of effort in to reaching out to ask someone to help you with something for you. Don't use AI to write your email. You shouldn't need it to write your email. It's not difficult to use your brain.
No, Ari's right. And we can tell. If it's written by AI, we can tell, and it will be an automatic ignore, and we will delete your email. But I am going to bounce off of Ari because this is something that I did not put in my notes. That yes, when you email and reach out to book bloggers, cater the email to that specific blogger. It's okay to have a template, like a template of pitching your book and the tour to these bloggers, but make sure that you cater that template to the specific blogger. Okay, like obviously your book information is all going to be the same, the tour information is going to be the same, but don't just say, hey, insert book blogger here. Say, hey, Ari, hey, Rachel, hey, Fabio. I've been following your blog for a really long time and I really enjoy like these posts that you've done and yada yada yada. And this is where the warm pitching comes in because they will recognize your name and they'll know that you've been following their blog for a really long time because you've commented on many blog posts in the past. I'm not saying you have to do every single one, obviously. That's a lot. But, whatever speaks to you, if you take the time to read their blog post, comment on it. Don't just like it, comment. Be engaging. Network. This is what networking is. And when you send them that email, make sure it's personable. Don't just make it seem like you copied and pasted a template that you whipped up in Google Docs and you're just mass producing it to everybody. And don't mass produce it to everybody. Unless you have people that have agreed to be on the book tour, then you can ask them, hey, do you mind if I put your email in this segmented email list so I can email everybody at once? But when you're sending out, your pitch, don't blind copy a bunch of emails into one thing because we can see that too. Because then we know it's not personable. You just copied and pasted a bunch of emails into one thing and then you just sent it off and then you wiped your hands with it and you say to yourself, okay, now I sit back and I twiddle my thumbs while I wait for everybody to respond.
It was the Fabio that just killed me. It's like I would love to see who's like, is there a Fabio with a blog post? I want to read that. I do. Just
I'm sure there is
Fabio.
somewhere. Sure there is. I didn't realize this episode was going to turn into such a rant. Um, just with the cold pitching. I can't stand the cold pitching and and yeah, be if you want help promoting your book, make sure that you actually get to know the people and you take the time to get to know them and their content. That's all. It's not a big ask. And finally, when you do have people agree and you have the blog tour all set up and everything's hunky-dory and it's good to go, all is said and done, don't forget to send a thank you note to your book bloggers. All you have to do is just send an email and just say thank you. You appreciate their time, appreciate their space on their blog. If you want, you can send an actual gift. I mean, you can send a digital gift, or if you want to send a physical gift, you could do that as long as they're willing to give you a physical mailing address and you keep that private. And, there's a whole lot of other things that goes into that. But there was one time I was part of a book blog tour for an author, and I apologize, this was a really long time ago. I don't remember the author's name, and I don't even remember the book title. I have the cover in my head, I can't remember the book title. It was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I remember that much. But as a thank you gift, she sent everybody a mug with with her book cover on it, and I thought that was really nice. And that little gesture goes a long way because you want to build. I mean, obviously, you don't have to spend so much money in an arm and a leg, but that little gesture does go a long way. It boosts that relationship with the book bloggers, so that way, when you release your next book, these people will be more likely to help promote your next book going forward. And again, it's not all about me, and promoting your book. Like, you still want to build relationships and friendships with these people too. But from a business standpoint and a marketing standpoint, it helps.
I have to say the mug thing is lovely, but at the same time, it's like, ouch. Even if you just did like a 5 day blog tour and there's 5 people, that's a lot. Maybe I'm just so poor. It just feels a lot of money, especially if you're like shipping internationally. And also, I think I would be because when you started saying something, I thought you were going to say like, "Oh, they sent them a bookmark or something." You're like, "A mug," and it's like, "Wow, that's a lovely gesture." I think I would be worried about doing something that expensive because obviously postage. And then the next time your book came out, they're all expecting it. It's like maybe like work up after like the 5th book. It's like, here has a mug. First one, you get a sticker, and then a bookmark, and then maybe some digital wallpaper. It's like ease up to the mug. But hey, I bet it worked.
It adds. Yeah, I mean, it adds up. And I mean, this is something that you would want to put into your book budget or author budget. I mean, there's so many things, which I know we've talked about budgeting on the podcast before. I don't think we mentioned this because we probably didn't think about it at the time, but here's another one to tack on to that lovely book budget. But again, you don't have to. I mean, you can just send a thank you email, or if you want to send like a free PDF or something like that, more than welcome to do that. And that PDF could be like a deleted chapter from the book or something like that, whatever you want. But make it exclusive just to those that helped out with the blog tour.
That's kind of cool, actually, because I said something like a PDF or like a piece of art or something that's just for them. The kind of exclusivity, I think that would be like, ooh, it's like if I didn't get a mug, that's fine, but if the idea of exclusivity to that level is pretty nice. I think that would work quite nicely.
To end this on a not so fun note, here's a word of caution. Not every blogger is going to follow through, and some may not enjoy the book and choose not to post the review, and others may ghost you. And this is another reason why warm pitching is much better than cold pitching a bunch of bloggers, because you want to build these relationships, so hopefully this won't happen. But obviously, sometimes things do happen, and you can reach out to them, and they might post their content late, or sometimes you might not hear from them again. Or you can ask an extra blogger or two to be backup. If they're not needed for the tour, they might still post the content anyway. And you can also ask somebody who already posted a book review. You may be able to reach out to them and be like, hey, would you also be willing to do an author interview and post on this day? Somebody had to back out. And I mean, people might be willing to post multiple times for the tour. But I mean, much like, and also, much like any marketing tactic, a blog tour does not equal more pre-orders or sales. It's just something to help spread the word about your book. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna roll in the dough after this.
Yeah, I think it can be one of those things you can fall into the trap of thinking, oh, it's going to do this, or you could do a tour and you think, wow, there wasn't many comments, I didn't see many sales. What's the point? But all it takes is for someone to Google your book name 10 months later, and suddenly they're getting all these pop-ups from blogs where they've got an interview or they've got details or a review. So again, it's like anything. Marketing isn't just a one and done. It's it keeps going. It's still out there. Any information you've put on blogs or websites or social media, as long as the social media is still there, it's still there later. So while you might not get new sales, you might not get more pre-orders, that information is still out there. And because because books are passive income and people come to them late. I mean, I've come to books that have been out for years and I'm like, oh, have you seen this new book? And it's like, it's not actually that new. It's just new to me. And then I found articles written for the author or interviews, and I've really enjoyed them, even though they came out on a book tour or they came out, years ago. So yeah, it's more about just it's more like getting your name out there anyway. So even if you think, oh, did it work well? It's like you're still out there. You're still Googleable. Is that even a word? Googleable?
It
Googleable.
is now. That's a fun word, Googleable. But I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, people can Google your book title and a bunch of other blogs will pop up, but also it's good backlink and SEO for your author name and also your own website and social media. Because obviously, during the book tour, you're going to have your author bio listed and probably links to your website, buy links, all of that fun stuff. So it's good in more ways than one. It's not just promoting your book, it's also promoting yourself as an author and just getting your name out there and spreading the word. That's all I got.
Did you miss this part? Working with book bloggers about sending them graphics and signing them dates. Did you talk about that? Did I blank that? Because you did the warm pitching, and then there's this whole section below warm pitching.
I did skip it.
I Oh, I was honestly sat there going, did I blank out? And she talked about that, and I'm just like, la la la. Yeah, because that's quite important because it talks about the graphics. I think you need to talk about that.
Okay, so I was going to end this episode here, but Ari just realized that I completely missed a whole chunk of my notes, just skipped right over them.
The
Working
important
with
part.
book bloggers. I think I went on a rant about the emails and, personalizing it and stuff, and I think I just kind of I completely forgot. But anyway, as I said earlier, make your emails personable, schedule emails, keep in touch. It is your responsibility to ensure that they have what they need and on time and, for their participation. So, what do they need? This is important. They need a free digital copy of your book, an excerpt, the book release, the book press release, your author info, social media graphics and blog banners, buy links, your interview answers or guest post completed and polished in a timely manner. Obviously, not everybody is going to need all of this stuff. If somebody is not giving you a book review, you don't need to send them a free digital copy of the book unless they want to review it at a later time and you want to give it to them as a thank you or something. That's up to you. But essentially, you want to assign each blogger a day to post their content on their website and work with them and coordinate with their schedules. Ask them if they have days that they prefer or don't prefer. Try your best to work with their schedules and content calendar because they are the ones doing you a favor after all. So that's kind of stuff we kind of already touched upon a little bit, but yeah, there's that. I guess this is better to end the episode off of that because that's more of a high note than a word of caution.
Yeah, we always do that. Always a negative where we end it. Just something. Am I right in thinking that because I've seen it on a few book tours, but not all book tours, and I actually did like it. So I don't know if it's like a more people do it or not. But I've seen it where there's almost like a graphic that lists what's happening on what day. So then each book person has it at the bottom saying like on Monday it's blah blah blah. It's almost giving the book bloggers more exposure because on every single person's blog, there's a banner that says like, the next blog coming on Tuesday is this person's and they're doing an interview. So people can kind of follow along or even find that blogger just by typing their blog name in. And I have seen that and I kind of like it. It also shows like it ties them all together. So if you fall into one blog and then you find another, you realize, oh, wow, this is part of the tour, even if you didn't notice at the beginning.
Yeah, no, I actually forgot about that. But yes, that is one of the main graphics that you want to create. You want to make a list of all the bloggers and their URLs and what they're doing and on what day. Because it's kind of like I mean, it's a tour. You want to be able to show the next stop to your readers. And it's just kind of like a blog chain. And yeah, it does. It gives great exposure to all the bloggers that participate because then they get more eyes on their websites as well. Which is why most people are a-okay to participate in a blog tour.
Can I just throw another question in? Going back to the thing where you said about like, if you're doing an author interview, you should have some questions. Would you have like a set of however many questions you do? I don't know what the standard would be. Whenever I do an interview, it's around 10, 11. Would you say like you have a set of questions? Would you use the same questions for each, or would you try and have each person doing an interview have different questions? That way it kind of adds more information about you and your book.
So typically with the book press release and also your author media kit, you should have like 3 to 5 questions, interview questions, to talk about. And if you want, you can answer like those questions briefly within like just a little thing. And if they ask you that question in the interview, you can answer it more in depth and have a chunkier answer to it. But I mean, yeah, I don't think you need to come up with different questions for every single blogger. If you could just say, hey, here's a list of example questions. Feel free to pick 1, 2, 3, use all of them, doesn't matter. But yeah, that should be included in your book press release. That's potential interview questions about the book. But then all in your author media kit, you should have potential author interview questions about like your author ring. Now I'm making up words.
That sounded like an author ring. It's like, do we get a ring? I want a ring for being an
Author-ing.
author. Author ring.
You guys know what I mean.
I have nothing else, I think. Because again, I don't know because I've never done this, and I was well aware that Rachel was the expert in this because she's actually run them, not just been part of them. So I'm like, I'm staying back, and yeah, you kind of covered everything except for that last bit that you forgot. But
Except for the last bit that I forgot. But yeah, I think I've covered everything now at this point. There's probably things that I did forget, but running a book blog tour is not a quick and easy overnight thing. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of coordination. It's a lot of socializing and networking, but it's worth it. And it's also just great to like connect with other book bloggers, other writers in that sense. And yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it. You just need to stay on top of your game. And every time you run a book blog tour, it'll get easier and easier because you'll know more of what you're doing and you'll find a rhythm with it. And it's worth it. It is worth it. It's just a lot of work. All right, I'll stop talking because we want to hear from you now. Have you hosted a virtual book blog tour for your books before? And what's been your experience like? Let's chat about it in the comments. And remember, we release a new episode every Wednesday. Next week, we are interviewing another author on the show. So to ensure you don't miss it, hit the subscribe button on your way out. And if you'd like to learn more about us, check out our website at themerrywriterpodcast.podbean.com and our coffee page for more content. Thank you for listening to the Merry Writer Podcast. We will see you guys next week. This podcast is brought to you by New Ideas We're Easily Distracted. The music titled Inspired is by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons 4.0.